Do you want to be involved? I can hold you.
Okay, you just ate.
She's cute. Please. Give me a chapat. Hey guys, what's up? In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make 3-ingredient flatbread. This bread is quick and easy, and you only need flour, water, and salt. So previously I've made chapati using whole wheat flour and white flour. Today I'm going to use spelt flour and white flour, and I feel like that is the best blend for chapati, gives the nicest texture. So I'm going to use 1 cup of spelt flour to 2 cups of white flour. And this is just a universal, like all-purpose flour. And when you're measuring flour for something like chapati, it does not have to be exact. Just roughly measure it into the cup, and then you will end up adding more flour later. It really doesn't matter. You also need 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And then just mix these together in the bowl using a fork or a whisk. And then you want to add 1.5 cups of water. And this is going to make 8 big chapati. So if you want to make less, just cut the recipe in half. And then mix it together with a fork until it starts to come together. And so if you don't have spelt flour, you can just use whole wheat flour. But spelt is nice, it gives a different texture. It doesn't need pesticides to grow.
Oh yeah, I read that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we really like the taste of spelt flour in pancakes and chapati, so it's our favorite right now. So you want the dough more on the sticky side, not on the dry side, so this is looking good. And now we're going to add a little bit more flour until we get a nice smooth dough ball. And I just use white flour when I add a little bit more, because we don't want the dough too sticky because it'll be impossible to roll out. So just add little bits of flour at a time and just work it into the dough. So it's still slightly sticky, so I'm going to add a little bit more flour. Then you just want to knead it a few times so it comes together. If you add too much flour, it'll still work, they'll just be more dry. But you really just have to learn what the dough feels like through experience, so just keep making your chapati and you'll figure it out. A little bit more. And I've made these before just with white flour, and the dough is really soft and supple. It's easier if you use whole wheat flour, but it's possible to use white flour as well. Just experiment with it and then see what you like. That looks good to me. It's not too dry, but it's still holding together. I flour the work surface, and then I'm going to flour where the dough balls will be resting. Put a little more flour there, and then just take the dough out. Plop it down. Put some more flour. I'm very generous with my flour, you guys. And then I just try to form this into a uniform circle. So when I cut out the 8 wedges, they're roughly the same size. It really bothers me when they're not the same size, but it's like impossible to do. Then you're just gonna separate them and ball them up. Alright, so now I'm gonna cover up the dough balls with this towel, just so they don't dry out. Put a little flour on the rolling pin. And then you roll. If it starts to stick a little, just put more flour underneath. Something like this looks good to me. This thickness. So now I'm just going to set this aside up here, and then I cover it, and then preheat a pan on high heat for 5 minutes. And so while that's preheating, this will just rest, and I'll keep rolling out as many as I can fit on here. Because they really do need time to rest, because that's what gets them to puff up. So the longer they rest, the more they will puff. But also, the longer they rest, the harder they are to like roll and pick up and whatever, because the dough just relaxes. But 5 minutes is a good wait time. So I am using a dry nonstick pan. If you want to put oil in it, you can. But we are totally fine using the pan this way. You want to bake these for 1:30 to 2 minutes, and then flip them and bake it for around 30 seconds, just so you get a little golden brown spots underneath and it puffs up a little bit. See the little brown marks there? That's when you know it's done. They might not always puff, but they'll still be totally fine to eat. I'm kind of sad these didn't like really puff up, because some days they really do, like full puff.
We did have one though.
Yeah. But sometimes it's like a perfect puff, where it's like a pillow. These look so good. So I really like making chapati at home every night because they just taste way better than any bread you can buy in the shop because it's fresh. Also, it's way cheaper to make bread at home because flour is cheap. So I don't know how much these cost, but it's way cheaper than buying bread at the shop. And they just taste really nice. I like these with our one-pot pasta and as a dessert chapati where I'll put peanut butter and jam on one and roll it up and then just eat it like a dessert burrito. It's so good. They're so good. Micah, what are you eating over there? Pieces of wood.
Probably. She likes the bark.
Yeah. Oh, these are kind of big.
Big is beautiful.
Whoa, my stomach is growling.
So is mine.